Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to J Daddy's Garage. It is Thursday, October 7th, 2021. We're running out of time for this year. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. However, fall is here, or mostly here. I know in some places we had short fall, right? We came back into kind of summer. And here in Georgia, we've had kind of a spring, let's say. We've been getting all kinds of rain and it's warm and, just not quite right. But I'd rather be, warm than cold. I'll say that. I've said it before. You can probably maybe hear it in my voice. I have a little bit of a still something going on. I canceled the Monday night live stream because I was coughing and hacking and nose was running and head congestion. And I was like, there's no way I can sit here and try to relate information and not be able to, talk and all that stuff. So I'm getting better. I'm feeling pretty good actually. And this right now is it kind of comes and goes. It's one of those things where it might clear out in the next half hour. I don't know, but anyway, I'm still fighting with something. For those, I know some people have asked me previously. My wife, she's still having some sort of sickness. She had been tested for COVID, had two different tests, and nothing came up. So she still can't smell and taste. So I don't know. Maybe there's some relation. I don't know. But they said the test was negative, or both tests. So anyway, she's doing better. She's feeling much better. She's still just coughing and stuff, but she'll get better. Anyway, I'm glad you're here. I miss doing this on Monday night. I know everybody likes to hang out and talk about cars. And sorry I couldn't be here or couldn't do it, but it was just not going to work. But I'm glad you're here, on this Thursday. Again, if you're here for the first time, we try to talk about classic cars, Mustangs, Camaros, Mopars, Plymouths, Studebakers, Corvairs. It doesn't really matter, just cars from the primarily 60s, some 50s, some 70s. Occasionally, we will get into a deeper question where it's more modern vehicle. And if somebody has a question, by all means, ask. And it doesn't matter if you don't feel dumb about it. There's a lot of information that people just don't know. And, I've got a great group of people over there in the chat box who not only answer questions, but they ask questions and, transfer of information. So the more we can share and the more we get out there, the better everybody is. And, hopefully everything goes well for all of us. If you do have a question and I answer it or somebody else answers it, you get a bell, kind of a reward system. Yeah, pretty simple, but, we all kind of operate in that realm of here's a treat, get a reward type of thing, right? So anyway, let's see who's here. Right off the top, Greg's Workshop checked in early. He was here at 2:37. So glad you're here, Greg, or glad you were here. Terry Keithley, hi Barry. Terry here. Hit that like button, folks. Yes, by all means, hit the like button. That helps a lot. Brian, hello everyone. Glad you're here, Brian. Hard frost last night in Idaho. See, that's the thing. Here in Georgia, we're getting these temperatures going back up. I know I talked to Robert, Infernal Craftsman. He messaged me earlier today. They're going to hit 95 in Texas. I don't want 95. We're probably high 70s, low 80s right here, but it's been raining the last 5 days or so, and it's just no fun when it's raining. No fun. Jerry checking in from the Money Pit in Middle Tennessee. Glad you're here. Brian, I would like some suggestions as to the best material to preserve the undercarriage of my rust-free Fairlane. I worry about typical undercoating holding in moisture. Well, Brian, hard freeze. So you were saying you're in Idaho. No, I don't know. I don't know for sure in Idaho if that's, I know roughly where it's at, out Midwest, let's say. But, we have the typical Rust Belt, and I don't know if Idaho is part of that Rust Belt or not. The biggest thing with undercoatings is, like they used to years ago, you had companies like Rusty Jones, right? Hello, Rusty Jones. Goodbye, Rusty car. And they would put a car up on a lift and it had rust on it already. And they would just spray it with like this tar undercoating stuff. It looked great. It hid everything. and they said no more rust. Well, we all know that's a lie. All it really did was encapsulate the rust and let it just sit there and work its way through the car internally before, it wasn't enough there to hold the pieces anymore, and it would just fall out. So what I suggest, first off, if you have a rust-free car, obviously, that's what you're talking about there, I believe, is a rust-free Fairlane, right? Make sure everything's clean. There should be no, I'm going to assume you're not going to have any moisture underneath it. It's not like you're going to go drive it somewhere and then come home and spray it with undercoating. I know it's going to be clean and dry and all that sort of thing. That is probably the biggest step to preserving your rust-free car, is making sure there's no moisture, no previous rust or anything like that. Now, your options are wide open in a sense. There's here in Georgia, I can get away with 3M or any kind of rubberized sprayable undercoating. It doesn't really make any difference. We don't have the rust issues. We don't have salt. We don't have really any of the problems that the Rust Belt has or any other part of the country as far as that goes. So I could put, in fact, a lot of the cars here never had anything on them, and they're still fine. It's just the way it is. Now, of course, there's obvious things with the Mustangs and stuff like that where you get water entrapment or a cowl failure from various other things. So one simple thing is undercoating. Now, I'm also, let me take a step back here. Not knowing the condition of your underside, like if it's been stripped of paint or what. But if it has any bare metal, I would spray it with epoxy first to make sure it's all kind of sealed up, and then apply an undercoating. Another thing you can use is a thing called lizard skin. Now, I will say this. I've heard really good things about lizard skin. I can tell you that we tried it once at our body shop. We sprayed it on a 65 Galaxy and followed the directions, sprayed it on, and it peeled loose. It didn't stick. Now, whether we did something wrong, I don't know. But in that case, it didn't stick the way it should have. I'm not saying that's going to be the end result, but that is, one option you can look at is that sprayable lizard skin. Another one is the truck bed coating. Now, they used to be able to, I think they used to sell it in a sprayable type of thing where it actually got really hard, and held on to the car and stuff like that. I do have experience putting some of that in a brushable on my dune buggy. The floor pan that I put in the dune buggy, I took some of that bed coating and I brushed it on, and I took they give you like a sand packet or something you throw onto it so you get some grit and grip in there, because you're getting in and out of a car like a dune buggy, your feet can slide on the floor pan. So anyway, I used that truck bed coating, and that stuff did a great job. There's other stuff out there. I think one called Gravel Tech or Gravel something. I can't remember the exact name. I think I have some of it in my cabinet. Or Gravel Guard. I think that's what it is. Now that's more of probably more rubberized and more for like rocker panels and stuff where you don't want rocks hitting it and causing problems. I know there's other companies out there that make other options, but those are the ones I've come to my mind. And so we'll look at and see if anybody else has any suggestions. So let's move forward. Leonard checking in. How's everyone doing? Pretty good. Glad you're here, Leonard. Nandu, good afternoon, Barry, and everybody. Glad you're here. Ricard checking in from Sweden at Out of Gas Garage. Hello, everyone. Hello, Barry. Glad you're here, Ricard. Oh, here we go. Jerry. Brian, I purchased a kit from Eastwood named PFC. I have not used it yet, but has good reviews. So there's maybe an option for you, Brian. I haven't heard of that, but Eastwood makes some pretty good stuff. Bob, hello from Oklahoma. Bob Shoemaker, where summer is still hanging on. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of becoming spring here. It's kind of strange. Robert, still waiting for summer to end here in Texas. Mid-90s still. Yeah. Yep, I'm just mentioning that. Terry Keithley, Barry, I like my steak medium well. See you at supper time. Okay. And if you haven't seen what Terry's referencing, is I did a video recently on my other channel, on the workshop channel. I had bought a smoker grill, a Pit Boss. They sell them at Lowe's, and I've I've been curious about, having a smoker grill. I have a friend who has a Big Green Egg, and he makes some fantastic, fantastic stuff, and always keeps us well fed when we go, visit him. So I didn't want a Big Green Egg though. There's something about them that just doesn't quite do it for me. I wanted something more of a traditional style. So anyway, I bought one. I put it together. It's on the other channel, Joe Daddy's Workshop, and it's a heavy duty thing. It's a really heavy duty smoker slash grill. So anyway, Terry wants to come by for steak. I have to figure out exactly how to use it before I can start making the steaks. RJ says hello. Glad you're here. Edward Stinnett. What's up, Barry? How are you, Ed or Edward? I don't know what you prefer. How you doing? Dawn's Manufacturer. Hello, folks. Yep, it's decidedly fall here. Raining and low 50s up to 60. So in Portland, does that really just mean, a temperature change and just more rain? Is that what that means? Is that how you figure out whether it's spring, summer, fall, or winter, just based on the temperature alone? I know it rains out there a lot. MC Clayton, for my 66 Mustang, how can I test the accuracy of my gauges? That is a good question. A good question. Now, let me ask you this: what are you having trouble with, or what are you doubting? First thing. Okay, all right, here, let me see. Let me read a little further. MC Clayton. I just put in all new wiring from American Auto Wire. Okay. Can oil pressure and temperature gauge also be placed in the engine bay for a sense of confidence? We want to keep the original look for the dash, just not confident they are accurate. Okay, well, let's put it this way. Your temperature and oil pressure. Okay. The gauges, typically an oil pressure gauge and a temperature gauge, I'm going to assume it's you said American Auto Wire. Is it a mechanical oil pressure gauge? First question. Does it have the oil tube connected to it, or is it wired? So does it have an oil sending unit coming off the engine with wires, or do you have a hard line, threaded hard line, like a brake line, coming off of the engine going to the gauge? If you have a tube, you're not going to get any more accurate than that, in my opinion. I mean, unless there's an air pocket in there that's causing some sort of problem. Okay, so it's wired. Okay, well, your pressure pressure sender that is connected to the wiring, all you can do is trust that that thing's doing what it's supposed to do, right? I can't tell you that there's any way you can say, well, I know this is accurate. Okay, a mechanical gauge with the tubing attached is going to give you a more definite pressure reading. Okay, now what I look for, like I put in digital gauges in this car, and it has a wired pressure switch. So what I do for the oil pressure in particular, when I fire it up, I want to see that oil pressure gauge move, get a signal, and then watch for it if it's going to flutter, like when you give more engine RPM or less, whether it's going to move with the cycle of the engine. That kind of indicates that it's working. But again, a mechanical gauge is going to be more accurate. So I doubt you have any problem with it. If it's moving right now and functioning, now if you're wired to the factory gauges, you may look at, let's say, hooking up a temporary mechanical gauge under the dash or under the hood just to see what it's doing. And then you can, compare that to what you're seeing on the electric one. And I know like there was some places, and I can't say specifically on the Fords, that there's more than one place you can mount that, the tubing. I think on Chevys, there's a couple different places you could actually mount those. I know on the side of the block somewhere they had one. But anyway, so from there, like Dawn's saying, check your gauges against. It requires a known standard, like a gauge to be accurate, and that is true, 100% true. Now, as far as a temperature gauge, what I would normally do, and I'll just show you this, just to verify where your temperatures are. Kind of an easy way is to get one of these little laser temperature guns, right? They sell these at Harbor Freight. They're not that expensive. This is a Centec infrared gun, and basically you can get a reading. Right there says my hand temperature is 90.5. That's probably pretty accurate. The body operates at 98.6, totally normal. That's going to be an internal temperature, not external. So anyway, you can get one of these, and you can actually go to your intake manifold where you have the sensor for the temperature, read what's there on this, and determine if it's the same as what's on your gauge. So that one you can do pretty easily. But doing the mechanical oil pressure is a little harder to do. But if you're really curious, that's one that you can do. So I hope that helps. Robert, next time I come through, I can make the ribs on your grill now. Yeah, sure. Come on by. The other day, I was at the restaurant or at the grocery store looking at Boston butts. I'm like, I don't know, because I'm not really in. I don't know, stuff I have to learn. Okay, Dawn, we haven't had rain for a while, and it was pretty hot this summer. Not that now. Okay. Jack W. Hi, Barry. Glad you're feeling better. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. Terry, on the topic of preventing rust on underside, what about spraying Cosmoline? Now, I have not used Cosmoline. I've heard of it. I think I've seen it applied, but I can't say yes, because I'm not familiar with it. Typically, I try not to give an answer on something that I'm not familiar with. But it would probably work. Probably. Jeff, checking in with a super sticker. Thank you, man. Thank you. That means so much to me. So much to me. Let's see, Dawn. Okay, Phil. Hi, Barry. What rust proofing are you considering to use inside your doors and cavities? I'm unsure. Many options out there. Take care. Yes. I'm probably not putting any serious rust proofing inside of my doors. Because I know I sprayed some rust converter inside, and then I top coated that with some paint. That's all I did. Now there's actually like cavity wax, stuff like that you can apply. And I think Eastwood probably sells it, maybe even Summit, places like that it is designed to settle into you get the pinch weld where your inner door panel comes into your outer, and then you get that sandwich area, and this portion up here, you could put in some like cavity wax stuff, and it'll help get inside there. I've also, if you remember, I did the internal frame coating on the convertible car, and I used that Eastwood sprayable. I think it was Eastwood, where you have that wand and you can put it in there and spray, and it will help coat everything. That's another option that you can use. But I haven't put really, like I said, anything in this car because it's not in that kind of weather. But that's a good question. Good question. MC, can a mechanical gauge be used in tandem with wired gauges? That may be possible, but I can't say for sure. I would guess you could probably put in a splitter. If you wanted to use, it's possible. And what I mean is you could put in they make an adapter where you could have a splitter, right? So you would go into your port with a T-fitting, and then thread in your sensor on one side and thread in your oil, real pressure sender or tubing on the other. That may be possible. I've never seen that done, but I guess it's possible. I've just not seen it done. Let's see, Robert. Phil saying to Phil, sprayable cavity wax from 3M or Transtar. See, there you go. Great answer. Somebody else said that too. But that's good. That's perfect. That's what we need to hear. MC Clayton, thanks. You're welcome. Leonard, still waiting for the drive-through. Yeah. Karsten. Hello, everyone. Karsten's here from Denmark. So we've got Australia and Denmark and Sweden represented it. Awesome. Brian, thanks for all the info and suggestions. You're welcome, Brian. Let's see. Moriara. Ivan. Hello. Hello from, he's saying, from Brazil. Glad you're here. Now we have Brazil covered. We're slowly getting all, the different areas of the world covered with these live streams. Brian, I'm toying with the idea of pour 15 after good cleaning, then rubberized undercoating in the wheel wells to prevent rock chips. That's not a bad idea. Pour 15, make sure everything's clean. That stuff. I will say, I've heard good things, a lot of good things about pour 15. I used it on my Model A. When I redid that Model A, I went inside all of the let's say quarters on that car where, the interior of the doors, I coated all that stuff in there, with pour 15. That's been 2007. Stuff is holding up incredibly well. I know somebody else who used, I don't know if it was pour 15 or chassis saver, and maybe the prep work wasn't quite right, and they hit it with a pressure washer and it blew off. So, and I think it might have been an old can too. So make sure it's fresh stuff. But that stuff will bite in. And of course, unless there's some change into it, pour 15 is not meant to be in open space, like in sunlight. It doesn't have UV protectants. I know they make different variations now, and there may be some sort of top coating or stuff like that. But my memory says that there's no UV protectant in pour 15. So just keep that in mind. But you're going underneath everything, so that's good. Leonard, yep, just use a T. So there we go. We're talking about putting in the fittings. So if they make it, you find a T fitting for that adapter, Leonard says it'll work. So thank you, Leonard. Troy, just it. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. No problem. Glad you're here. Leonard, hey, Barry was in USA? Not sure what you're asking, Leonard. Rusty's Mustang Garage, low checking in. Stream is looking good. Thank you. It needs to be. I've been struggling with it, and it'll probably still have issues going forward, but right now we're good. Dawn, I drilled and tapped an 1/8-inch pipe thread into the standard oil sender pipe for 289, ran 1/8-inch copper tube to the firewall and plastic up to dash. So there's an option. So he actually tapped into the little pipe, the sender pipe. He actually tapped into that and created his own port. So that's a good idea, Don. I like it. Leonard, Barry, I was in Utah and found I think 76 Mustang 2 fastback. Yeah, they're still out there. I mean, they're developing a following. They are developing a following. I doubt they'll ever see the money that the classic ones will bring and show. But in that era, people, if that's all they, if they wanted a Mustang and that's what they got, there's still people that want them. Even after all this time, it's just it's a hopped up Pinto. We all know that, but it's still in the Mustang realm. The cool part about those cars is, they were putting V8s in them. And you can get them with a V6 and I think 4 cylinders too later. But, one of those cars with a V8, now granted they were emissions and had all the power robbed out of them that they possibly could. I doubt they were making 150 horsepower. But still they were built to hold a V8 engine. So you could get one, come back later on, put in a little powerhouse, and you can have a pretty quick car, a very small car with a V8 in it. And like I said, there are people that are looking for them. They're wanting them in their life now because that's what they had when they were maybe a teenager in early 20s or something like that. And the chance to get one is getting smaller, let's say, because I don't see them. I don't know when I've actually seen one. I think the my local cruise in, yeah, this past summer, there was probably 4 or 5 of those. And I think there's like a club of some sort. And they were really nice. I mean, they were all fixed up, painted, real sharp little cars. But yeah, there's people are looking for them. Oh, and yeah. Speaking of cars, and I was going to mention this on the past Monday, but there's a there is a guy who lives. Well, he has a business up close to me. There's an industrial park just up the road, and nice guy. I've probably talked about him before. I don't know if his name is Rod or if he goes by Rod, but everybody calls him Hot Rod. He's a welder, car builder, fixes lawnmowers. He does all kinds of stuff. And he has an original 69 Mach 1 390 car automatic that he bought brand new. Brand new. He bought it at the dealership. Brand new. So think about that. Think about that a minute. How many original owner cars, are still in the original owner's hands? This car is gorgeous. It is Acapulco blue. It has, and it's never been redone. It's never been redone. Black interior with the red stripe in the seat. The only thing I don't like is it's an automatic. I wish it was a 4-speed, but hey, it is what it is. But he has taken his car. He took it all apart to modify some things. Like I think he upgraded the brakes on it. I know he did some other things, and he was going to put in. I can't remember if he was going to put in a 427, that he had, or what. I don't know exactly, but I'm amazed he took it apart because I'm telling you, this car is gorgeous. I probably have pictures of it somewhere, but anyway, I stopped in there. No, I've been stopping in there for several years now. And for the last couple of years, there's been a 69 coupe sitting in the garage. And he's had all kinds of other stuff in there, but he's had a 69 coupe sitting on a rotisserie. And I've looked at it several times, got into it. Pretty solid car. A little rust here and there, but it was a pretty solid car on a rotisserie. And I stopped in there I think last week or something. And I wanted to just see what he was doing, what he was up to. And now, let me tell you, this guy's 80 years old, by the way. And he's still operating his lawnmower shop, welding shop, car repair shop, 80 years old, still out there turning wrenches, which I'm amazed. So anyway, I walk into a shop and I'm looking around, and now sitting over in where that Mustang was is it's a Maverick, like an early Maverick. It's got a 302 or some sort of small block in it with a blower sticking out of it. Somebody drag races this thing or has been wanting to, whatever. And I'm looking at that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's different. And I start looking around and I said, what happened to the coupe? He says, oh, I sold it. I said, you sold it? What do you mean? He said, yeah, I got tired of waiting on the guy to do something with it. So I sold it. I told him either come get it or it's going to go away. And I was like, wait a minute. That wasn't your car? Where did it go? And he said, oh, I sold it to so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And I said, what did you get for it? Now, this is where it hurt. This was where it hurt. He said he sold that car for $2,000 with the rotisserie. With the rotisserie. $2,000. And I looked at him and I said, I wish I would have known you were selling that car. He said, oh, I've been trying to sell it for a year. Like, what? Why didn't you tell me that? I thought it was his car that he was doing work to. And he said, yeah, I just sold it like a month ago or something. I said, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah. 69 coupe. Everything was there. All the sheet metal. I think it had an engine with it. Interior, everything was there, but it was, like taken apart on a rotisserie. And he sold it for $2,000. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. Because I've been looking for a 69, you know, if I can't get a 69 Mach 1, I'll make one, is what I told him. I said, I would have bought that in a heartbeat, turn that coupe into a fastback, you know. Just frustrating. Just frustrating. Okay. Brian, just be careful using copper line, as engine torque and vibration can cause the metal to fatigue and cause loss of pressure. Yeah, that is true. Now, I said copper. I did say copper. And I probably should have been a little more open to Teflon. They make a Teflon tube that you can use as well. My mind went to copper because I've seen copper on, old cars. I've seen copper lines run, and they coil them. They put a twist in them, a coil, so that if the engine's vibrating, that coil can flex. You know what I mean? They don't make anything tight, nothing rigid. It actually kind of moves around. That's a good observation, Brian. But yeah, copper or Teflon, will work. Leonard, when Ford changed to the Mustang 2, they put a 302 with a 4-speed in Mexico, but Ford wouldn't bring here to the U.S. Really? Because I know that later on, now maybe it changed in a certain time period. I don't know when they initially went to was it 74 when they built the Mustang 2. I think later generations they did, because I know they made the Cobra. Yeah, they had a Shelby and they had a Cobra. And I feel like they had V8s in them later on. I feel like they did. Anyway. Rick is checking in. Glad you're here. Clark, thank you, Barry and Robert, for suggesting cavity wax. It was on the top of my list. It stays soft, doesn't dry out. Good properties as a proofing. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Leonard. Sold that car. And I didn't even know. Like, come on, man. I go in there and I talk about Mustangs with him. Ed, can I get the Brooklyn Pony with the hoist? With the lift, you mean? As long as I'm not here when you take it. That's all I can say. It's one of those things. What was that old saying? Like at they'd be closing down a bar or something. It says you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's where we're at with the Brooklyn Pony. Roberts is getting in line behind me, Ed. Yeah. Leonard, Motor Trend went down there and did a whole article on him. That would be interesting. I didn't know that. But Brian says, yes, I owned a 78 Mustang 2 Mach 1 302 4-speed. See, so I knew they came with a V8 later. But you're absolutely, I'm sure you're right. You know a lot about this stuff. I'm think the early ones 4 cylinders and V6s, at the most. But I don't know what year they actually put the V8 in. But 78 is one of those, according to Brian. Let's see. Okay. Whoops, Bob. Our gauge install kits we sold in the store had steel lines that had a copper-looking coating on them. Interesting. I've never seen that. But okay, I'll take your word for it. Robert, I was there with an empty trailer in February. It can make another trip out there. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna. You know what? I talked before about Yes Welder, right? Yes Welder was going to come next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, and do some filming here. Turns out they want to come earlier. So they're going to be here on Wednesday next week. So 6 days. So I'm trying to get stuff, make it look decent in here, clean up, get stuff out of the way. And I think what I'm going to do is there's some work that I need to still do on that car. And part of that is the front cross member that I modified to clear the oil pan on that engine. I cut it, I bent it, and I tack welded it in place to do a mock-up and test fit. And that's basically where I stopped. So what I plan to do is, if they're gonna film me running their, using their welder, I'm gonna use it on that car. I plan to pull the engine back out, get it out of the way, and bring the welder up and finish. I want to finish welding that cross member, which is something I need to do anyway, because I started that and I will finish that before I put it all together and get it ready to make way. But that's probably what the plan is whenever they come up. And yeah, Rusty's, you still have the VP? Yeah, yep, it's still here, still here. I have no idea what's going on. I've talked about it several times. I haven't heard from the owner in, let's see, what month is this? October. 14 months now. 14 months since I heard from the owner of the car. I don't know. And prior to that, for at least 8, 9, probably 10 months prior to that. So we're talking 20, almost 2 years now. Yeah, almost 2 years that I was asking for parts for that car to get it done. And so I've been very patient, but that patience is gone. It's gone. There were certain things that I needed to continue the process. Never showed up, never got it. And I'm just like, I'm done. So I'm going to do some, finish up a couple things that I started on it, and we'll see what happens. But it's got to go. It's got to go. It's got to go away eventually. I mean, it's got to go. But let's see. 428 power. There were several Mustang 2 Cobras with a 302 4-speed. There you go. Thank you. Rusty, claim as an abandoned vehicle. That may be a possibility. I'm really at a loss. There's a lot invested in this car. A lot of time is invested in this car. More time than I had ever, let's say, agreed to initially. Because if the whole process of this car was meant to be rebuilding to an original car, like the suspension, the engine, the regular C4 automatic, all that stuff. And then it went kind of haywire, it went, oh, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And, that has gone, that's gone downhill. It's gone downhill. And, I don't know. Really frustrating. Leonard, dang, can you lean it? I don't know. I haven't dug into it that hard yet. And there may be some other things that, could be difficult. But I don't know at this point. And right now I'm just, yeah, it's just got to go. Just got to go. Charlie, send a bill, claim storage fees, and otherwise small claims court. That's probably the best answer. It's probably the best answer. But we'll see. Rick Stevenson, I think the way it works is you need to start with sending him a certified letter, and that may be what I have to do. Again, I have a couple things, because I was working on it. Y'all saw what I was doing to it, and I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just spinning my wheels on this car while this car is sitting waiting for my attention. And so that's when I said, okay, I'm stopping. I'm jumping on Jade. I'm going to get it done and just continue. So that's why, I stopped working on that other car, on the convertible. And there's, like I said, there's just a handful of things that I want to address. But I want to take care of those little things before I do the next step in the process. Hope that makes sense. I don't want to jump through too many hoops too early and have it become, a difficult thing. But yeah, the whole thing went off the rails. Like, there was a vision to build it this way. This is what I agreed to. And then it started compounding with, let's put in custom suspension and, vintage air and power brakes and power steering and, front runner kit and blah, 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 and all the other Mustangs to Fear frame connectors or supports and yeah, just pew, all over the place. Leonard, whatever you decide to do with it, you won't have any problem selling it with all that we've seen you do. Yeah, I know. And I really just, I don't know. I want paid for what I've done, because I've done way more than what the original agreement was, right? So I expect compensation for that. Lots and lots of time, lots of little details, lots of making things fit. So, and really at this point, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, it's the elephant in the room. I don't even want to really look at it anymore. I just don't. It's yeah. Hey, it sounds like a garage sale is needed. Yeah, well, if there's any way that I could legally go see you, that would be great. But I'm gonna have to be careful with it and just see how it goes. Rusty, we the viewers did get some good content from BP. Yeah. And I would love, honestly, I wanted to finish that car. And had it gone my route, right? Even with the modifications, had it gone my route, it would have been done 2 years ago. It would have, at least 2 years ago. But the thing is, and this is why I'll never do this again. This makes really a bad situation. But if I were to, like when we had the body shop and we worked on cars for people, and a couple times they would come in and say, I want you to do this and I want you to do that, I want you to do this, and I would say, that's fine. And they would start getting their nose into it, and I said, look, I'm going to do this car as if it was mine, the way I would do it for me. Okay, I'm not going to do it just to make some money on it. I want to do it the right way and satisfy the demands that my mind have. If it's what your vision is, all the better. I may do more than what you're asking. I may make it better than what you're asking, but I'm not going to make it substandard, right? So the plan, in my mind was, okay, let me, we'll talk about what parts you went on it. Let me order stuff and build it. Let me just handle the whole process. We'll figure out what parts work. I'll order them, put them on the car, and progress from there. And he didn't want to do that. He wanted to handle all the purchases, right? With some input from me. And a lot of times stuff would just show up, like way out of sequence. Like if I'm building a car, I'm building from the ground up. I can't start with, the air conditioning kit. That's not going to help me. That's just in my way. I want to do it. Let me build the body, let me assemble everything. Let me make sure all the chrome fits. Let me make sure the bumpers fit and the lights fit and all those sort of things. Make sure the engine fit. All those, pieces, you assemble it, make sure everything fits. And then I'll take it all apart, paint it, put it back together, whatever. But my hands were tied. I was not really part of that. So I was able to handle all the sheet metal, right? I was given money to take care of the sheet metal, and I did that. And you saw how fast I built the car. If you go back and watch those videos, I went from 0 to a car that you could roll around in a very short period of time, honestly. And then it just kind of started getting off the rails. So again, had I been able to, and this is why I won't do it like this again. And I said, I'll do sheet metal work. I'm not going to do the complete project anymore. I'm not going to paint. I'm not going to do interior. Unless there's some sort of big monetary number that comes out that says, I will pay you X, to do the paint work or whatever. I don't really plan to do paint work. It's just not my thrill. But turn me loose on sheet metal, and yeah, I'll get it built. Um, but it's just it's out of my hands as far as the control element, and it was just bad. Leonard says, "Hope you can get it," but yeah. Well, I mean, I don't care if I don't know that I want it. I mean, honestly, it's it's a cool car. It'll be nice. I mean, it'll be a fantastic car when it's all put together. And but I just I don't know. I don't know that I want to get all tied up in it. Ricard, the Brooklyn Pony, was the one that got me really hooked on this channel. Yeah, well, and I'll tell you that too. I had a pretty good buildup of people watching the videos and all that sort of thing. And then whenever it just tanked because, I had no content. I can't, I was trying everything I could to do things to that car and keep people interested. But it just, you can't go do so much when you don't have, materials. Gordon, having to make modifications is one thing. Having to make modifications to the modifications for every modification is a little ridiculous. Amen to that. And that's exactly what I had to do. Now, some of that we didn't know would have to be, some of the stuff we didn't know would have to be modified. But regardless, there's so much customizing that was done to that car. And it would be a beautiful car driving down the road, someday. Ed, Google the owner's name and see if he's still around. I actually have his name. I have his phone number. I have an address. But I just haven't. I just know. I'm just not ready to make that contact just yet. Getting very close though. Very, very close. Leonard, watching you build BP, you could give Ford a run for the money with all the custom work you done. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. People loved watching it. They love seeing what I could, all the buildup, putting it together, assembling it. And, if you think about it, I don't know anybody else that ever done that. Like, let's build a car from scratch kind of thing. Now you look at like Peterson Restoration. That's all he's doing. That's all he's doing, So I don't know. Frustrating. Brian, thanks again to everyone. Got to get some lunch. Everyone have a great weekend. Okay, sounds good. Glad you're here, Brian. Dave, hi, Heidi ho. What do you know? Just happened to be smoking a brisket as we speak. That sounds good. That sounds good. I'm going to be working on trying to get stuff on that smoker. I'm unfamiliar with them. I'll say that. But I mean, it can't be that hard, right? It can't be that hard. You throw it in there, throw some seasoning on it, stick a probe in it, walk away. I hope. Anyway, I know there's more involved with that. Fly Poo checking in. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So yeah, I'll be doing something, whether it's ribs or brisket or Boston butt or whatever. Leonard, yeah, now he's going to build a 67 fastback. Yeah, I've been kind of watching on that a little bit, seeing what he's doing. Seeing what he's doing. He's doing a good job. I will say, the advantage he has is it's not just him. I mean, he's just showing a video of that particular car or whatever he's working on in that space. But if you look around, they've got a full-blown, they've got to have, I don't know how many, there's got to be several people working there, because here's the pink Mustang and the blue Mustang, and they're in different stages of assembly. And, people are just, I know they're just throwing money at them to build these cars, which, I get it. But I don't have that kind of resource. So kind of frustrating. Dave Harrelson, it can't be that hard. It can't be that hard. You just plug it in, right? Just get it smoking, find a number, temperature setting, and Just throw it in there. Louis Trevino, hello, Barry, and all. Saw Mustang turn barbecue. Sorry, Mustang turned barbecue one time decades ago. Or Mustang turned. Okay. Maybe Mustang themed barbecue. Sounds. Oh, turned into a barbecue pit. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, barbecue pit. Okay, that makes more sense. Thank you, Leonard. Okay, just ring the dinner bell when it's ready. Will do. Barry, call me anything, but don't call me late for steaks and Yingling. Yeah. You know, it's funny. You know, since we're talking about food and all that stuff, I used to make steaks when I worked at the airline. I used to make steaks in a toaster oven, and they were the best steaks. I think I've talked about it before. They were the best steaks. And you're like, in a toaster oven? How do you make steaks in a toaster oven? Well, we would actually you'd put the toaster oven on broil, and I'd make an a foil pan out of heavy duty aluminum foil. I'd make a pan. We could put 4 steaks in there at the same time, slide them in that toaster oven. And of course, I would pre-season them before with Dale's. You know, if you haven't used Dale sauce, put Dale's on there, mushrooms, onions, a little bit of salt and pepper, and broil those things. You know, let them go, let them get, you know, kind of brown, you know, cooked on one side, flip them over back into the juices, let it broil for a while longer. Man, those were the best steaks. Ribeyes, of course. And nice part about it was one of our coworkers actually worked part-time at a legit butcher shop, like a small town grocery store / meat market. And so he would cut us our own ribeyes, and they were all inch thick, and they were just amazing. Just amazing. I missed that. Dan checking in. Glad you're here. Troy, I'm up for brisket. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm up for brisket too. Marshall, howdy folks. Late to the party today. Been in a management class. It managed to waste my time. Yeah, that's pretty much how they operate. Leonard, who was the airline that built a 757 barbecue pit? I don't know about that one in particular, but I can tell you that Delta Airlines, the sheet metal shop at Delta, they have a smoker / barbecue airplane. You could probably Google it and find pictures of it, but it's an airplane. It has a nose and a tail and wings, and the sides. I think it's one side. I don't remember how it's arranged, but the fuselage opens up, and you can grill in it. It's beautiful, amazing piece of equipment. All right, Waipu has to go. You guys enjoy your food. Yes. Yes. Now I'm getting hungry. Y'all, I want some steak and I want some ribs. Yeah. I need to go to Fogo de Chão, right? The Brazilian steakhouse. I need to go there and get my fill. Oh man, why did you have to bring all that up? Yeah, I'm gonna have to make something. So I've already done the burnout on that grill, the smoker. You have to run it for like 30 minutes at 400 degrees or something, so it burns out all the oil, because there's oil inside on the equipment. When they ship it, pieces have oil so they don't rust or whatever. So I've already done a burnout on it, and just need to figure out what I'm going to throw in there. And I will say this: I don't know if I'm sure Robert has probably tried this. March Indy, Rick, who had helped me put the windshield or trim on the car, he came by a few weeks ago, and he brought me some smoked cream cheese. Yeah, that was really good. I don't know if you ever had it or not, but smoked cream cheese is really good. Really good. Leonard, ever try a cowboy steak? I don't know. I don't know what's different. What makes it what's a cowboy steak? I don't know what the difference is. Karsten, the Brooklyn Pony, it doesn't make any sense to put so much work in it. Oh, into a cabriolet. If it was, well, it's convertible. If it was a fastback, I would get it. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I understand that. Um, and I guess maybe the is there a difference when we're talking about cabriolet and convertible? Because I know, like, if I picture a cabriolet, it doesn't have any roof at all, right? Am I right with that? Am I wrong? That's what comes to mind when I think of a cabriolet. But maybe that's just the word that you use in Denmark for a convertible. So I don't know for sure. Robert, throw a pizza on the grill. Okay, I guess I could. I guess I could. Let's see, Lewis, cowboy style steak is tops. So, oh, okay. So Leonard says it's a ribeye with the bone. Oh, okay. So it's a ribeye bone rib. Let's see, how do they say that? Bone in ribeye is what we're saying, right? Yeah, bone in ribeye. Yeah, I've had those. I just never heard it called a cowboy steak, I guess. But yeah, those are good. Terry, I can get a flight from Peoria, Illinois, direct to Atlanta. Okay. Oh, Carson says yes. My bad. Okay, so we were on convertible. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Bone in ribeye. Hmm. Yes, please. Okay. Anyway, so what I'm working on, I'm trying to get done. There's been a bunch of stuff kind of getting in my way this past week. Part of it is my mind thinking about this film crew that's going to be coming here. That's kind of got my mind all over the place. Another thing is my space issue. You know, I've been actually cleaning up a bunch of stuff, a bunch of little things. I have several plastic tubs of leftover parts from this car, or I replaced parts and I took the old ones and stuffed them in the box. So trying to get all that cleaned up, and then my I think I mentioned my Patreon video that my son had dropped off his Mazda 3 here because he bought himself a newer car and it won't pass emissions, this Mazda 3. So I'm trying to get it figured out and get it fixed. I've already started changing out some parts. Um, the difficulty is that I need to either sell the car, you know, or my other son wants it simply because it has air conditioning that works and his car doesn't. So either way, I'd have to fix it before I can part ways with it. Let's see, Lewis, salmon steak on a cedar plank on the grill. Yeah, my wife loves salmon. Probably not a bad idea. Leonard, what, you're going Hollywood on us? Well, I don't know if you've heard, but Yes Welder, they have sent me products. So they sent me a plasma cutter uh, earlier this year, and they sent me a welder and a welding hood, and they wanted me to test out their welder and show, using it and how all that sort of thing. So um, they had a conversation with me a few weeks ago now. And they said, hey, we want to come out and do like a, for lack of a better term, human interest type thing. If you were to look up Yes Welder on YouTube, I think that, I don't know what their connection, how they have it labeled, but what they do is like a background story. And I've seen several of these. They do a really great job. They send out a real film crew. They have a conversation with me or the person. You talk about your history, what you do, how you do it, why, and all these different things. And they film it, and then they film you like doing things, so it's kind of like it helps them out with their advertising for their Yes Welder, and it may get some more interest on my channel. So I'm like, yeah, if it'll get me views and people interested, I'll just go with it. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Greg's Workshop. Hi, Barry. The car is looking very good. Thanks, Greg. Kim. Tastiest steak ever is barbecued over wood, charcoal, and coated in monkey gland sauce. Monkey gland sauce. I'm not sure I want to Google that. Not sure I want to Google that. Terry, where are their welders made? Yeah, you know where they're made. They're not made here, just like anything else. I mean, I'm sure there are welders made here in the U.S., um, but I'm going to assume they're everything. It's all China. And I had one company contact me briefly earlier this year. They said, "Hey," and it was an American company, and they said, "Hey, we want to see if you'd be interested, in maybe getting a welder from us and showing it and doing this." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And that was it. They never contacted me again after that. So I just said, "Okay." But Yes Welders, they're sending me products. Their plasma cutter, I've used it. I really liked it. Did a great job. Um, I did do a test run on the welder, you know, and it works. So we'll see. I'm more interested in trying to get viewership on my channel, and try to build that up. But yeah, Terry, I agree. I agree. The difficulty anymore is, you know, what is made here? I mean, legitimately made here. You know, we can all look at you look at some labeling on stuff, and it'll say assembled in USA, right? It doesn't mean it was made here. It says assembled here, and so they'll send a bunch of parts over here, and then somebody here will put it together, and they'll say assembled in the USA. So, but it's frustrating that there's so little anymore that actually is made here. And even like all these parts for these cars, none of that stuff's made here. You know, um, I don't know what we can do to change that besides obviously voting and having our votes actually count and stuff like that. But I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going there. Anyway, so at this point, what I'm working on is trying to get the trim on the back glass. I want to get that done. I'd like to get it done today if I can. I've been cleaning it up. I did a shorts video earlier today on this trim and using this Quick Glow product. I've shown this before, but this stuff, this is the original stuff. Hey, that would make a great looking sword, wouldn't it? Like a knife. Yeah. Anyway, so I cleaned it up, and even though it's going to have definite marks in it from being 50 some years old, um, it looks much better than what I started with. Let's see. Leonard, sounds like you need to do what a lady in Colorado is doing, charging $50 for her time to view. I probably don't have the appeal that she has, Leonard. I probably don't have the appeal that she has. Yeah. She's probably doing something totally different than I'm doing. And I would be amazed if somebody wanted to pay $50 to view me like that. But we're not getting into that. All right. On that note, I'm probably going to go. It's been a great. Rick, I saw that video. You need to add it to your items I use on Amazon. Actually, I did post a link on the video itself. And I will have to check to see if I have it on my inventory on my Amazon page. But I did do that. I posted a link below the video. So thank you for that, Rick. Lewis, trim looks very, oops, sorry, where'd he go? Lewis, trim looks very nice. Yeah. Yeah, it does. I'm happy with it. Nandu, Quick Glow is a good product. Use it on some wheels and they turn out great. Yeah, I've been very excited about it. Leonard, that's what she is charging to see her salvage yard. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, well, he didn't weren't real specific there, Leonard. Charging $50 for, yeah. Yeah, it just says her time to view. That makes more sense now. I get it, Leonard. Thank you for that. Thank you for clearing that up. Because they do have those pay-per-view, some sort of thing where people, nah, I'm not going there. Louis, yeah, take care, Barry and all. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try to get this taken care of today. Um, want to get it done. Um, I've been, trying to post more or want to make more detailed videos for Patreon, as I mentioned before. And so this one, I'm going to film it a little bit differently today, focusing on Patreon for the detail work, and then I'll do just kind of an overview on the trim itself, let's say, and how it's put on. But anyway, let me see. Greg says Barry can send me a link. You talking about for the quick glow stuff? I could try, but I could try, Leonard. Greg, if that's what you're asking me, they have the underneath that little video I made. There's a link right below where it says gives a description of it. There's a blue hyperlink. You can just click on that, and it'll take you right to that product. All right, Robert says back out to the shop, put on some seam sealer on the shock tower braces. Yes, get it done. Okay, that'll be it. I plan to be back on Monday, assuming there's no major conflict. And I hope everybody has a good weekend. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.